Welcome, Luca Biotti, to my podcast and my channel. Luca Biotti is a good friend of mine. He is a trainer at the Monroe Institute. He is a medium. He is a channel. He is a PK spoon bender Superman. He is somebody who is a trainer for Starline's program at the Monroe Institute. And welcome to our guest, Luca Biotti. Yay!
Thank you very much. Too kind, Laura. So it's my pleasure to be your guest on this wonderful channel.
Thank you so much, Luca. I wanted to if you could introduce yourself a little bit, and I just one thing about you that I find so impactful is your PK abilities. You have this incredible energy that you channel out of your hands, where you can get the spoons to just melt. This is very impressive.
Yes, so I started my journey, or my path of personal growth starts about 25 years ago. So it's a long journey to remember and to tap into my, let's say, true nature, probably to step into my power. As a background, I'm an electronic engineer, but I was already very sensitive before to graduate as an engineer. I could say uh, I was already in the right side of my brain, using my right hemisphere for sensing, and then I have to develop also the rational part to graduate as an engineer. But I'm still using today a lot of sensing and feeling when I'm not, let's say, working technically. That's why probably there is a kind of ability of feeling subtle energies, and this is making me somehow successful in psychic reading, in mediumship, in energy healing. Eventually, I got also accredited to train for Monroe Energy Medicine. I became a Reiki master. So, what is the field of the world of vibrational remedies? I always been attracted by energy, which is sound, which is light, information, and frequency. We remember Nikola Tesla saying, if you want to discover the secrets of the universe, start thinking in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. So there is a part of me who is encoded with this energy, frequency, and vibration stuff. So it's something which I was born with. Then, of course, the learning, the teaching, you study, you read books, you practice a lot, and putting together electronics, which is the study of electromagnetic waves. Basically, applying this today to sound, because I got the possibility also to become a Monroe audio engineer. So today I'm very lucky since I have the possibility to do the former job of Bob Monroe, with training, but also putting together audio tracks, measuring brain waves, seeing how the sound you encode into the tracks are successful in bringing people a little bit out of phase. Truly, my job is tune in, expand the state of awareness, bring people there to have an experience. This experience is connected to a learning, and this learning, as Monroe was saying, is transforming thoughts into known. You are learning, so you know by sure, because it's based on your experience, that this is not a theory anymore. It's put into practice, and this practice is bringing you into a learning. The learning is transformative. That's why our participants are getting transformed through a journey. So I like to see myself as someone who is helping people moving through a journey of transformation and self-discovery. Can be 5 hours as a spoon bending, can be a week-long program, can be a series of programs moving from gateway up to starlines, basically. But it's the same kind of approach and imprinting, which is probably something for, for some reason I'm able to do it in a way which is successful. So I'm getting, let's say, positive feedback. It's not only the spoon which is bending, but the spoon that bends is telling us we are in a good state for evolving ourselves at the end.
Wow. So that's really incredible the way you break it down. So it's almost like um you are sensing something within the spoon. It's a communication with the object. It's some kind of a quantum entanglement process, if you will, almost.
The feeling, because to me, truly, spoon bending people which are coming to spoon bending, I've been training spoon bending for Monroe basically every month since the past 3 years. And in the beginning, I was very skeptical, saying, I don't know if I will be able to train spoon bending. I'm an engineer, very skeptical, rational mind. Then I had to enroll the first time, and the spoon was collapsing in my hand. So I got a kind of experience, say,
Wow.
there is a process ongoing. I'm passing through an experience. I'm not able to describe rationally what is happening, but I feel this surge of energy. I'm becoming hot. I'm radiating energy around. The spoon is melting in my hand and it is collapsing. And then there is a learning process connected. So the spoon is somehow teaching me that if I'm able to change my form, if I'm able to collapse as well, so let go my limiting belief about who I am, who I'm not, if I deserve it or not, if I have the skills or I'm missing something, if I let go everything and flow with the energy into this experience, the experience is teaching me something. So if I go first in the state, typically the spoon is following. And this is what I'm used to do in every class. So I build up a good state for myself, and then people are attuning to my state. This is shifting the energy in the room, and then spoon start bending on themselves. So you don't even need audio tracks. You just are creating a good mood, setting up a right framework of reference where people can feel themselves safe, allowing themselves to have an experience no matter what. And then I believe to me, spoon bending is very much healing. My my belief about spoon bending after many years, I get some very cool experiences where here I have an example of spoon I bent a few days ago, last month at the college. What
Incredible.
I notice is that every time is different, and every time the spoon or the fork is getting a shape who has an imprint of my energy in that moment.
Wow.
And if I'm bending something for someone, is becoming a sort of an amulet for that person. So I could embed an intention of healing and then donate the spoon or the fork to the man or to the lady. And this is reinforcing the healing process. It's like creating a medicine and giving this medicine to the people, which is attuning your own energy to the resonance that was present at the moment I bent the spoon. It's like a tuning fork, basically. It is attuning your own energy field because it is imprinted with the resonance and the energy and the information of that moment. A few months ago, I'm traveling often for my work, and I was traveling. This is a personal story, a couple of personal story I can tell. In the center of Italy, and meeting some ladies that are following me since they uh, met me to a Life After Life summit last year in the south of Italy. And one of this lady, we became friends eventually, uh, was reporting to have issues in the morning. So after sleeping in the night, waking up in the morning, get a sort of anxiety of fear, which is not connected particularly to anything, but is a general fear about life, giving you an unpleasant feeling, which is staying with you for the rest of the day. And I got into this mood, sort of healing mediumship is something you need to do. Basically, with your own energy, try to affect the situation for the better. Vibrational remedies are working in this way. So when you are exposing someone to a vibrational remedy, means you are introducing a frequency, you are introducing a vibration in someone else's energy field. And in the beginning, it could also make the situation worse because if you are in anxiety, if you are in panic, what is important is that this anxiety, this panic is becoming your teacher. To me, is your best friend. Your state of being unpleasant or unsatisfied, not feeling well, there is a reason for that. So it's important to bring the information which is inside the sickness, inside the illness outside, and to understand what is teaching this to you, which is the message embedded in your being uncomfortable. So that evening, I was bending a spoon in front of the lady and say, okay, this is for you. And then, based out of nothing, I was proposing this evening you get home and you bring this spoon into your pillow. So you sleep with the spoon. The morning after, I was scared to send a message on WhatsApp, say, how was your night? I say, I was sleeping well. And surprisingly, this morning when I woke up, I have no fear attack at all. And from that day, she is fear-free,
Wow.
sleeping with the bent spoon into the pillow. So I had to convince myself and to accept that bending the spoon, first of all, is truly not about the spoon, it's about yourself, but it's very possible to embed an intention. So it's similar to programming, I don't know, a crystal perhaps. So you put
Yes.
an intention inside and it works in the same way. Of course, the resonant frequency of the spoon is different from the one of the crystal, but if I put my energy in that moment, it's like taking a picture of the energy on my aura in that moment and send it out with the direction of a laser beam. Okay, saying, okay, I'm encoding this information in the spoon, but I'm putting together also the emotion of my heart. Sort of creating the law of attraction and embedding it into a piece of metal. And according how the piece of metal is changing the shape, then it is remaining there. So there's probably no way to bring it out because the spoon is also changing the shape. And every time the shape is very much harmonious. So it's moving in spiral, is moving in the way the energy is supporting the unfoldment of life in nature. It's like growing a tree, observing a flower, which is turning on and growing in spiral. This is happening very quickly, but the process, if probably we are going to see it at the ralenti in slow motion, we will see that it's following the same Fibonacci spiral or kind of movement to me. It's magic, basically. It's something I'm not able to tell you how it's going to happen, but then when the phenomenon is happening, everyone in the room is typically affected.
That makes absolute sense, actually. And you've really, thank you for such an incredible explanation of this, Luca, because that is such an interesting, clear way of understanding what you do. And I've seen this with and we've seen healers use objects to infuse them with healing molecular structures. And it makes perfect sense that not only are you doing that when you hold the metal in your hand and move the metal with your molecular frequency vibration, but also that you're infusing the metal and the molecular structure of it with that intention in a way that is so powerful that it changes the shape of the metal and holds on to this intention in a way that's very unique to um, what you do in your process. Because even if you look at, for example, charging a crystal, um, it's it's still in the same shape. So taking that extra step of being able to molecularly shift a physical object into another form, holding this intention while you do it is something extremely powerful. And you're saying that it's like a healing talisman. It's like a healing tool that you can take these spoons with the energy and the frequency that they are now infused with molecularly, structurally wise, shifted into a whole different sacred geometric shape based off of the spiral and the energy that you've infused it with the specific unique intention that you've given it. And you can send these spoons to people with those intentions and help people with very specific issues.
This is sort of an intuition process, because it was happening to me already 2 times in other events where I'm on stage, perhaps, or even at a dinner table and I'm bending spoon. And the day after or the same evening, people are coming to me and saying, "We want to thank you because I had a pain and my pain is gone." Or overnight, coming in the morning at breakfast, say, "We need to thank you because probably yesterday evening, after listening to all our issues and problem, we believe you came in your room and overnight you've been doing something for us because today we believe are healed." And the first time I was truly shocked, say, I don't have any rational memory of doing something on purpose for them overnight. So now what I do, if I tell them that I didn't do anything, their pain is coming back in 3 minutes or so. And then I was convincing myself that was the spoon bending activity because these ladies were on the other side of the table when I was bending my fork the previous evening. So truly, uh, reshaping, changing the structure is a little bit changing the project somehow. When you have a tissue, an organ, a cell which is degenerating, perhaps a cancer cell is a cell who believed to be immortal. Instead of dying and leaving space for recreating new cells, they are continuing growing and replicating and creating tumor mass in the body because they don't want to die and make space for the new. Truly restructuring the shape of the silverware is basically changing the project. Say, okay, not this, but this other one. And there is an energetic template, there is a matrix, there is a structure according which the human body develops and grows expressing information into a structure. There are wonderful near-death experiences. There is one lady that I know personally. She was also a former Monroe trainer. You can find on YouTube Natalie Sadman. Natalie Sadman had a near-death experience exploding on a bomb in Iraq. She was working there. The vehicle was moving onto this bomb, and she is telling at a certain point, I was able to see my energetic structure have the ability to play with this structure like using a tablet, and I was in a position to choose my own illnesses. So if I meant to lose a foot, to lose a hand, to lose a part of my body, I can see already in advance which is the new energetic structure and the effect it will have in my future life. So everything was quick. She was saying I had the possibility to interact with this structure on a higher level, and then when I woke up, it was manifested back into my physical body with the same kind of illness I was forecasting, I was in charge to decide. So she's telling, say, I had the opportunity to restructure energetically my body on another plane of consciousness, and then this is exactly what was happening in my physical reality. So somehow working energetically with metal, but is also uh, possible to work with other effects of psychokinesis, perhaps altering statistics, rolling dice, playing a roulette, or changing the temperature of crystals, growing seeds, sending energy with hands, turning on light bulbs, perhaps without electricity, are all phenomena which are telling us eventually that we are in a state of flow. And when we are in a state of flow, the most important thing is not the spoon, is what you can do in a state of flow because you become proficient as a healer, as creating, manifesting, in taking very important decision for projects in your life, creating very, let's say, new enterprises, which higher part was writing books, painting, perhaps in your case, whatever is connected with something you want to create and transmit to others because you are encoding information into an energy structure and this is supposed to last. So this spoon has my own legacy inside. I will probably not be able to do another one which is equal to this because it was unique to the environment, to the class of people I had there, to the place, it was the Arthur Findlay College, and to my entry state in that moment. How you enter in the state. Monroe is talking a lot about focus level. It distinguishes which is a deep focus level or it is a surface one. How depth is your experience in that state of consciousness. So we are truly changing our consciousness through the day continuously. But the ability to do it on purpose is something you can train. In the beginning, it took me hours to bend the spoon, and I was not able to control the process like the out of body experience. Then, with practice and dedication, you become a master because you are able to remember how you are feeling yourself in that state and are able to enter with purpose in a few couple of minutes, is just shifting my energy and then causing an effect because truly what I'm doing is causing an effect. And this effect is very similar to physical mediumship. I cannot consider spoon bending a form of physical mediumship because it is not technically or literally, but it is causing an effect. And when the effect is happening, the situation is shifting in the room.
Wow. Yeah, in in quantum mechanics, that makes perfect sense. And I would consider you somebody who is a manipulator of the material via quantum mechanics. Your ability to um use the vibrational structure of a material um and integrate a new vibrational signature to it, which um, in quantum mechanics is we go down to the subatomic particle level in string theory, and we have these tiny little threads, strings that vibrate, and they're just vibrating, and depending on what vibrational frequency they are, is what they turn into, and that's quantum science. And so, uh, everything you're saying is basically scientific in terms of the quantum realm and about being able to not only manipulate the subatomic string particles of an object that you are bending, but not only that, change the subatomic vibrational strings of the people around the object that you've changed at a subatomic level. And you are, in a sense, actually shifting the vibrational frequency, not only of the spoon, but of everyone around you in your energetic, your electromagnetic frequency field. So if they are within your frequency, where you are creating so much quantum energy that you are able to change the vibrational structure of the strings in the metal spoon that you were working on. then it would be safe to say that you, in your own electromagnetic energy field, would have had the quantum energy to shift the electromagnetic micro subatomic particle fields of everything around you in your own encompassing field.
And sometimes it becomes very big because I had experiences, of course, at Monroe, especially at Discovery. Uh, I've been measuring several times my own brain waves when I'm doing spoon bending.
Aha.
And everyone in the range of 2 to 3 meters is becoming very hot. So when I'm
Mm.
feeling hot, I was hearing people around say, it's hot here today. We are sweating. I am
Wow.
I am generating heat in the range
Yes.
of 2, 3 meters. But last year, truly, I'm a little bit crazy sometimes because I like to put myself to the test, but I trust very much the spirit world and this energy and information field. So I was attempting a spoon bending in a conference on Life After Life Summit in Italy, where you have probably 300 to 350 people in grief, and they are coming because there are mediums giving proof of survival, this kind of stuff. And I had last year the evening session. So I was allowed to have a longer session compared to the other speaker. And also I had the freedom to do everything I want because I was trusted since the previous years. So I decided to come to a supermarket and buy 3 brand new forks. So I come on the stage of the conference. My intervention was about out of body and NDE. It was from out of body to NDE because I started having spontaneous OBEs like Bob Monroe in my 20s. And when I became a trainer for the Institute, I immediately had a significant near-death experience by car accident. So this was my journey, starting from out of body to NDE. And I come on the stage and say to organizer, I cannot promise anything, I want these people to have an experience. So after my half an hour or 40 minutes talk, I would say, for those of you who would like to remain here, I'm playing a piece of moral sound science guiding with my voice live meditation. And if I feel drawn to the spoon of to the fork, if we are able to enter in this beautiful energy bubble, maybe a phenomenon is happening. So not only I was feeling myself in a good mood to bend the fork, but the whole energy of the room, there was 300 people in the room, was shifting from this to this. I came into the conference the afternoon saying, I cannot stay in this room, otherwise this evening I will not be able to give my talk because there is so much suffering, grief, and whatever this is destroying my own energy. I cannot stand with this level of suffering because it's 300 against
Yes.
one. So I have to preserve my energy till this evening. So I
Yes.
go to the stage with my, let's say, a small energy bubble and I do something to build up and to open, open, open. Eventually, at a certain point, I had to open my eyes and see, okay, now I feel a tremendously good energy, and I was doubting if I'm the only one feeling the energy of, or if the rest of the room is following me. So at a certain point, I have to open my eyes and say, okay, now, either everyone is staring at you and you are the only one in this state, or the whole room is in that state. And when I opened my eyes, not only I made 3 turns on the floor, but the whole room was on the stage. Everyone with eyes closed. And there was a very mild and beautiful breeze in the room that has been lasting for the next 2 days. Absolutely. And everyone was speaking about how the energy was shifting the evening before when I did this spoon bending. So truly is magic happening and it's happening through me. Like I'm not saying it's me. I am not the magic. I'm part of the recipe, probably an important part of the recipe because I'm an ingredient of this. special, let's say, cooking. I'm only a contributor to the whole story. So the whole story is much more than what is happening in my hand, is much more than what we can understand with our rational mind. There are several levels of information which we are not probably able to pick and to describe. There are things happening on higher level of consciousness which are giving the possibility to the phenomena to happen. There is a part in the autobiography of a yogi, of Yogananda, where there was one Swami was able to give the smell of any flower to any other flower. So you can take a flower who has no smell and giving the smell of the rose on purpose, which is very similar to what you are describing. Is getting close to the materialization, which is a higher level of skill, but probably there are some things which are similar to this point.
Yes, it's the saying a friend of mine says a lot, and it's uh where two join, I am there. Um God is there. And um when we connect as a community, and when more than one person decides to set intention for divine energy to come through them, um, there's something very powerful to that. And then you being that conduit in a group setting, anyone there that is in alignment and making a choice to change their alignment with you then sets off a whole um and if more than one person simultaneously makes a choice to make alignment, energetic alignment with you, and leave the energy they were in, conscious energy they were in, and choose to engage in an energetic signature that you're showing them and sharing with them that is of a different, higher vibrational frequency, then all of a sudden the room becomes the symphony of music. And like the music of the spheres, there's a musical frequency that is heard through all the interplanetary, all the planets in the sky and all the stars in the sky, and the earth. There's frequency and vibrational music and sound, and we can all see ourselves as a form of that. So I think that the work you're doing
Yeah.
has to be, you have to be able to really hold ground in a space with so much pain and suffering like you were in, um, so much grieving, and so many people holding on to the feeling of sorrow and separateness, and not feeling the whole, but feeling the emptiness of separateness from somebody they've loved and have had to let go of, and that lonely feeling, and instead embrace that feeling of one and connection again.
Yeah, this is a very good point because what I'm, let's say, bringing on, especially in this moment of my life, which is still part of my path of transformation. So if I look back on my journey every 6 months, every year, I'm getting surprised when I come back in the same place, invited the same conference, say how different I am compared to 1 year ago. And what I'm bringing out now is also the part of mediumship. I could consider myself a sort of healing medium, but this healing mediumship is becoming manifested only now because there is a background which is engineering, sound healing, creating audio track, embedding vibrational frequencies of the chakra, of different organs of the body for reattuning dysfunctional organ and cells, and this is scientific. There is one part which is somehow esoteric. So there is a part of me which is also resonating a lot with crime, murdering, all the violence, especially in the young ages, where you see all these people passing away totally, let's say, unprepared in situations that are completely forced, unnatural. And I feel very much supported and surrounded by this, I can say, quite a wide group of guides or helper, uh, bringing me on in the job that literally in shamanic culture is called psychopomp. So is
Mm.
conducting souls from one side to the other side and directing them into the light. But when you bring this job together with the background of an engineer, this is coming to a point where my spoon bending is getting to a trance healing. So what I'm doing, especially in my healing group, I'm running a healing group in Italy, is running healing circles where I'm inviting presences, intelligence, beings, and then I'm stepping away a little bit. I'm putting myself in an observer position and just letting the energy of the circle flowing and healing. And in this same energy, the spoon bending can happen, the psychokinesis can happen, and you have the afterlife joining into the same circle. So it's a mix of human living, non-human living, because they are coming from other planes, other reality, elements of nature, mineral, crystal, plants, medicine plants, it is other form of intelligence who never had a physical form. So it's becoming very, very wide circle of healing. And there truly is beautiful because you can disappear for half an hour. Sometimes I'm talking for half an hour, fully based on intuition. Sometimes I talk for half an hour with lot of blank screen in my video in front because everyone is turning off screen and microphones for half an hour and just feeling, making psychic, running a healing circle. And then at the end, when it's time to share the experiences, people most of the time are telling in the very exact moment you've been telling these words, I was writing the same word on my notebook. Someone else is telling that sentence was exactly for me because I'm just passing through this in that moment of my life. So it's exactly sculpted on my experience in this moment. So there are plenty of confirmation going, and there is this openness. It's truly a journey of transformation, which is going deep on people lives, is going deep in the subconscious, is going in the collective unconscious. In some cases, I believe, is working also in what is called the junk DNA expression. So when we pass through a transformation in our life, and at this point, I could say my job in this moment is a little bit of an alchemist. So we transform people experiences and this unfolding of experiences is bringing on a new quality that the people can put in the game of the life. And this new quality, when they are expressed, they are transforming you in another person. So you are truly expressing, activating some part of your DNA code, which is perhaps coming from your lineage. I like very much to work with the ancestors, sending energy into branches of the ancestry tree and unlock situation, restore balance, open up, healing, making connection, and retrieving the quality which were supposed you to inherit from your ancestors to bring them out in the game of life today. This is tuning in your power and truly transforming you for the better. So people are saying, okay, if I'm able to bend the spoon, which I was thinking is impossible, then what else I can do in my life? So truly, the spoon and the fork is just a metaphor
Yeah.
to let you understand that you are in charge to run your energy field. And energy field is also consciousness at a certain point for the better. If you are not doing it yourself, you are reacting to energy of other people.
Luca, let me ask you, to me, I see you as an incredible healer and somebody and a shaman and a medicine man. Could you talk to us a little bit and share a little bit about how you infuse your incredible knowledge on medicinal plants and herbs with your quantum alchemy that you discuss with your spoon bending as metaphor for shifting not only objects around us and consciousness states, but even DNA level family trauma lineage of timelines and being able to change timelines with ancestral trauma. And so, wow. And now I just have to, how do you incorporate this? So you're talking about all these things. And we're just scratching the surface of all the things that you do, because I know that on top of all of that, you have this medicine man skill.
After many years of binaural beats and motor sound science, I came to a point where I like, of course, to create audio tracks, but I probably listen to them so long that I could say my brain is automatically tuning into this kind of experiences. So they are not bringing me uh, anything new. So at a certain point, I had to move into other kind of experiences. So I had a complete path in shamanism before I was moving a lot in the subconscious, so self-hypnosis, Ericksonian hypnosis. Uh, I started with shamanic crystal therapy. I became a trainer of neurolinguistic programming, language and behavior, this kind of stuff. Today, I had two friends of mine who are psychedelic therapists. And I had to decide at a certain point, okay, let's have some kind of experience with medicine plants, which requires a good level of letting go. So if you tend to control very much, it's difficult to accept you can give your control to a medicine plant like, I don't know, Salvia divinorum or uh, San Pedro cactus or golden teacher mushroom, this kind of stuff. In some cases, you can have, of course, under the control of someone who is a medical practitioner. Today, to tell the whole story, psychedelic therapy is a branch of medicine who is using medicine plants to cure some kind of illnesses where traditional medicine is not able to fix issues like post-trauma stress disorder, perhaps people coming back from war zones and not being able to fit anymore in a traditional society. These kind of illnesses can be today cured somehow with medicine plants. So you get to a point where this is a chemical effect. Our brain is an electrochemical machine. When we use Morrison science, when we use binaural beat, we are attuning the electrical activity of the brain that we call brain waves to a geometry, to a scheme, to a pattern of brainwave, which is resembling the brainwave of a healer, the brainwave of a learner, the brainwave of a creative person. You can restructure a sleep cycle. You can even alter the perception of time, the perception of space, the perception of pain. So there are many fields where sound science can be effective. Medicine plants to me are very much effective in making a deep dive into your, let's say, darkness. Is a lot of shadow work. When you are, let's say, accepting to lose your control and give the control to a plant, the plant is reflecting you back your weaknesses in a way that even a psychiatrist is not able to do. It's the best, let's say, mirror work I ever did. And you see yourself from point of view you have been not even imagining sometimes. But the cool point is that you are integrating immediately. After many years of our work, a journey in the field of medicine plants is like truly encountering a old sage man, which is giving you wise suggestion. And you truly immediately discover that this is you, this is somehow your strength, this is also your shit, but they come together. And when you integrate your shadow with your strength, you become more complete
Mhm.
at the end. So truly, for me, it's very important this kind of understanding that is possible to find perhaps in holotropic breath work, which is some kind of practice created by Stanislav Grof, was a transpersonal psychologist. And to me, he will probably be acknowledged as the third most famous after Freud and Jung. If I have to nominate someone as the biggest, let's say, psychologist in our contemporary field, it will be probably Stan Grof, working especially on the path of birth and dying. There is a lot of transpersonal psychology working on your birthing because we tend to uh, keep memory in our body of our birth process, the 9 months before we're getting to birth, and all the traumas we are passing through in our birth are encoded as body memory because the brain is not formed
Wow.
enough to have a rational understanding and processing of that trauma that get encoded in body memories. Passing through a process of holotropic breath work, at a certain point, you tend to relive your birthing process. And what I was learning is also we are not only bringing with us our birth memories, and this is the reason for which I'm working a lot with ancestry. We bring in our body also the unresolved trauma of the birth of our mother, of our father, and our ancestry. So
That
we
makes
have 50% of chromosome inherited from male and female, father and mother, but at the level of trauma, we inherit also all the trauma they did not resolve in their life about their own birth. That's why the cycle of dying and rebirthing for those who are believing in reincarnation is very important. That's why I'm working a lot in terms of healing connected to physical death, because every end is a new beginning. If you do not accept that there is an end, there's not even a beginning. Moreau was writing, there is no beginning, there is no end, there is only transformation. So the continuous cycle, which is going into cycle in our life, is telling us that truly time, to come back to your question, does not exist as a linear time, but is truly circular. As a young boy, I saw myself becoming an engineer, and then on an energetic plane of consciousness, I was truly already an engineer. So everything was already happening, and time has to work backward in my life to allow myself to make all the choices I did to become eventually an engineer and getting a degree in engineering. It's like you got now your PhD in ufology, so congratulations for that. But to me, this means that the young Laura was seeing yourself already as an ufologist, and then you have to work in your life to allow time to manifest back in all your choices what you did to get to have this degree in your hand, but it was already happening on another plane of consciousness. It was part of the project. So when we are talking about changing form, is about restructuring energetically to another project. That's why the shifting is happening. It's not only the physical form, but the physical form is only the representation on energetic project, which is already happened on another plane of consciousness. And that's the magic. That's how it works. It's not bending the spoon, but it's allowing the spoon to get the shape that was already predetermined on another conscious level, on a clearly energetic canvas with some very precise information about your health, your quality, your belonging, and whatever is your potential to manifest in your life. So it's predetermined in terms of potential. There are many choices you can do to express it on different ways. But then the quantum theory is talking about quantum leap. That's why you are allowed to move from one point to another point in zero time without moving in space and without losing experiences. You are gaining experiences about the path you didn't make in your life. At a certain point, what's happening in my life that I came out to become a Monroe trainer, to become a Monroe engineer, to teach Starlines and whatever. And all the choices I did in my life, and it seemed for years that I'm going nowhere and just losing time, making mileage in a certain direction. Then I have to move on another path, to move in another direction. Every single experience was just perfect to bring together the amount of skill and knowledge that was necessary to be here today. And I didn't lost any second. Everything was experiences. And also you are able to remember and bring together the experiences you didn't make. Since I'm moving on path A, at a certain point I was coming to a crossroad, there is path A and path B. I choose path A. I go on the left and go on path A for a few years, perhaps. At a certain point, I'm moving from path A to another point that we call C. And when I wake up in C, I'm also able to bring, as remembering, the experience of B and was not moving on the path of B because everything is happening together in a state of no time. You are having the experience of A because your focus is here, but you are doing at the same time at an unconscious level the experience of B, and you end up in C, which is another line again. So we are truly multi-layered beings having the ability to tune in into one path probably every time, but it doesn't mean we are not existing on other levels which are developing and happening at the same time. Life experiences. So this is the point of recovering part of yourself. How many life expressions Laura can have? I believe quite an amount, of course. You are bringing together an impressive amount of knowledge and potential in your life, but I'm truly convinced there is much more. This is only one part. So what
Absolutely.
if we are able to tune into the double or the third? Einstein was saying we are using our brain at 10% of its own possibility. What about we can tune in 20, 30%? And sometimes only physical death is removing this veil and allowing us to remember, okay, now I remember that. And life is challenging for this reason, because we tend to forget that we are unlimited beings and we need to break our bones to stop in some direction and say, okay, I cannot go on that direction anymore. I'm forced to take a different route. And after a few years, we say, I'm very grateful for that happening to me that day, because this change of route was opening a world of possibility, which is now much better the one on the route I left. Absolutely. We learn by friction in life.
Would you say, Luca, that the more you learn and understand working in the quantum, like you just explained, working out of time and space and understanding how all of these different variations and versions of us can exist simultaneously out of time and space, understanding these quantum under mechanics, do you think it would bring quality of life to an individual?
Yes, it's it's complex, our cosmology, because we live in what we perceive as a three-dimensional environment. So we have three dimension X, Y, and Z, and then we have also a fourth dimension, which is time, but the brain doesn't have truly the dimension of time. The brain is used to make timestamps. So the day, I don't know, you got married, your child was born, was graduated, so everything which is very pleasant or unpleasant to us, we tend to remember because the brain is memorizing the experience. And the brain is truly a sensing device. It's memorizing what you see, what you hear, what you feel, smell, taste, and putting a timestamp. It was the 10th of January of 10 years before. And you remember every detail because you remember the feeling connected to that. When is nothing special, is nothing important, we tend to forget. Absolutely. But the important point to me is that this is our perception of a bigger reality. So truly, the three-dimensional reality is a folding of multi-level reality, four dimension, fifth dimension, six, seven dimension, and we are able only to perceive it in three dimensions. Truly, if you take two cubes and you split one to the other, you get a four-dimension reality that it is not possible to represent with our way of creating drawing, but it is existing. And if you move in another direction again, you get a fifth dimension reality. It's like taking a piece of paper and make it round and having an animal moving on it, it has the impression of moving in a single dimension, but truly it is in a three-dimensional reality, having the impression of move only in one. And this is our illusion here. So we have the impression to be in a three-dimensional reality, which is all that exists, but it's absolutely not. This is our limited perception of a multi-level reality. That's why we are surprised of many things not only we cannot control, but we are not even able to believe they exist because they are so far away from our way of representing reality. That's why my cosmology was shifting a lot during my period of personal growth. We came here just to connect a little to cosmology, to ufology. Planet Earth, for me, I like to bring this topic as training star lines. At a certain point, you are remembering yourself that our space address is of planet Earth, which is one of the latest planets of the Milky Way, which is very, very far away from many other galaxies which are existing. And every year we are building more powerful telescope, discovering stars and galaxies we are ignoring today. So truly, we are not alone in the universe, and our space address is a little bit remote. So for someone who is living on Laniakea galaxy or another Andromeda, the experience of the COVID of planet Earth is not the same experience we are having here, of course. So having a galactic understanding of the universe is giving you a complete different cosmology about your concept of God, perhaps. Sometimes I believe that here on planet Earth there is such a high amount of suffering, such a high amount of separation. We tend to live in this bipolar or dual environment where for us everything is separated. Either is black and white, good and bad, positive and negative, and we tend to disconnect to the point which is these are just to the opposite polarity of the same thing. So the thing is one, consciousness is one. You can get to uh, one extreme or to the other extreme. Every day we see in our society people moving to the extremes. And when you get to an extreme, you tend to believe this is the only that exists. The other one either is not existing or it is my enemy, basically. So I have to fight it. And this is creating a separation. When we separate, our energy field shrink and collapse, and we are separated from the unified field of quantum information and energy. That's why it's important to recover all this part and to integrate the opposites in one, because when you are complete, you are assembling the structure of the universe, which is complete. It is, of course, as the energy law tells you, is expanding and contracting, because energy is not about standing still. There is no tension. If there is no possibility to have an imbalance, there is no energy for the life to flow. There is no possibility of creation. But truly, we are in a moment of ecstasy and in a moment of void. We are exploding and imploding. And when you are imploding, you believe you are in a state of void because you are discreating. This is making space for something new to happen. And when you are exploding, you are looking, oh, this is a beautiful creation. Look at this structure. What is the achievement? And the day after or 2 days after, you are feeling miserable because you tell, I don't know what to do with all this stuff. So I have everything, and mm, I believe I feel like I did nothing in my life because there is so much more we have to do that our achievement become negligible compared to the potential we still have to express. And to me, this is the magic of life. So it's the possibility to have a dream, moving, reaching a goal. And when you reach this goal, you understand that this is not the arrival point, but is a new starting point for a higher goal, for a new experience. And you are moving step by step through your life, through your experiences. And this is the principle of evolution for us, making experiences that count. What you bring with you at the end is your not your physical body, is not your richness, is your experience, is your memory. And to me, this is truly the consciousness baggage we are building. And making it on planet Earth has a lot of value because the Earth school is very, very difficult. That's why we have a lot of people still getting into the concept of religion because there is so much suffering here that we need to create the figure of God and say, okay, I cannot be alone here. I will not be able to sustain this level of separation, this level of suffering, if I believe I'm alone here. We start out in the road and killing everyone I find out because everyone is my enemy at a certain point. So we need to create a representation of something which is bigger than us. And all the ancient culture has been doing this. But looking from a consciousness perspective, which is in the universe, is giving us a completely different cosmology, different representation of what is God or the source of life of the or the dreamer of the dream or who is projecting the hologram, however you want to call it. Having a cosmic consciousness is giving you a level of freedom and understanding, which is to me absolutely nice to have. That's why I turned it into cosmology and ufology.
And you turn to cosmology and ufology because of this cosmic consciousness that creates and embodies all life and encompasses something that is something bigger than us, something that encompasses us as a whole. The
Absolutely.
dreamer, dreaming the dream, being the
Yeah.
dream.
And then you get to remember also perhaps waves of form of intelligence coming on planet Earth having an experience into a physical body to help this planet to evolve. So bringing more advanced technology back into our time, moving through the stone age, the fire age, and moving through ancient cultures and civilization, getting flooded like Atlantis and Lemuria, moving through Egypt, and then masters coming and reincarnating in different ages, in different centuries, and telling exactly the same thing. You change the body, you change the name, but then you are still talking about energy and consciousness, about transformation, about hermetic principle and rules, about remedies and form of illness, how to cure, and whatever, is still the same kind of teaching that to me are immortal, are the teaching and the principle who are immortal and then are coming back to rule different life experiences, evolving in ages, moving from one planet to the other, but still fitting into the law of quantum physics, the law of energy, and whatever. This is truly a nice understanding of the experience we are having here.
Luca, if you could tell people one thing that they should do to get them into a cosmic conscious state of mind, what would it be? What would you tell them?
I've been walking during night for years and listening to meditation. Every time I look at the stars, I feel an emotion. It's the same kind of emotion I'm feeling when I'm doing mediumship. When you come to the spirit world, I'm feeling an emotion. When someone is stepping into my energy field, there is this amazing emotion. And when I look, I don't know, at Arcturus or Sirius, I feel the same kind of emotion. So there is a sort of life recognizing life. It's, you are resonating with that frequency because you are encoded somehow with that frequency. You are just attuning your instrument with another instrument, but the two are playing the same the same note. So for me, taking, let's say, star baths or night baths is a very good way to remember when you look at the vastness of the cosmos, perhaps during night, and you get yourself lost through these constellations, to this star system. At a certain point, if you spend some time in feeling this resonance, your brain, I'm talking about the left brain, start bringing this geometry of, let's say, constellation Ursa Major, Canis Minor, and you understand this is a sort of screenshots of the symphony of life. At a certain point, you tune in into astrology, perhaps, and you say, okay, like the moon phases are regulating many things on our planet, there is also the possibility that this the position of the star in the cosmos in the day of your birth is telling a lot about yourself. So truly, there is the Hermetic sage as above, so below. So if you want to understand what is happening here below, you have to look what is happening above because it's happening before you have an experience. This is the same principle of time. So everything was already happening there. And when you come here, you are working time backward to manifest here what is the energetic template that was up there. And looking in the birth chart, you get a lot of information about your behavior, your potential, your inclination that are 100% true. And this is also possible to read on multiple levels because you have the physical, you have the emotional, you got the mental, you got the spiritual, and this is somehow evolving with you. There are many possibilities to reread your birth chart in a different years of your life and getting out new information. And this is the same chart, still you, but it's bringing out different understanding about yourself because you are evolving. And the more you evolve, the different understanding is you are getting from the same design, basically. This is interesting to me. It's also very fascinating and surprising because there is an encoding of information, and the more you evolve, the more you are able to get it out. It's like unfolding a rote, Monroe was saying. So it's an amount, is a zip, an archive of information. But if your consciousness is not evolving to that level, you're not able to understand that key. It is not opening the other door. You're getting the key of a few doors, but not all the other. And to me, truly, my suggestion would be move along in your path of personal growth, walking on your path, you will discover which is the path of your soul, because if you stay still, of course, you are not discovering any path. But working on your path, eventually you will meet your soul on your path, and then your job will be opening doors to me, collecting keys along your path to open the majority of door you can open. And this is bringing you back information about what and who you are and which is your purpose in life. The closer you get to the multiple door, the more information you get about yourself, the majority of part of yourself you can retrieve, and then you can move on when you leave this physical body with a more rich experience about this passage on planet Earth.
That's fantastic, Luca. And I know we're out of time, but I would love to know more about and talk more with you another time on Egypt and consciousness on that level and the tours and the trips that you do. And also that you're doing a Starlines one as a Monroe trainer in Stonehenge coming up. And can you tell us a little bit about the where we can find you and the classes that you're teaching coming up?
Yes, soon there will be a date on the Moro website for 2026 calendar. And also we are adding a few dates for 2025. So I tend to train internationally, so online, typically spoon bending, but I have also in presence classes. So I will be perhaps this year in September, I will be in UK teaching Exploration 27. I will be in Abano Terme in Italy for Discovery, and there we have the conference, European Conference Consciousness Unveiled for Moreau. I will be there as a speaker and also hosting a workshop for spoon bending. Next year in March, I will be in the south of England for an in-presence Starlines 1. It will be probably a beautiful experience, the possibility to visit Stonehenge together and get information from this sacred place. In April next year, I will be again at the Arthur Findlay College in UK for another energy and psychic research week, and many things to go. This year will come in Virginia, Monroe at September for co-training Starlines 2, and then we'll come back probably in October for the professional division conference from the 25th to the 31st of October. And of course, I would like to organize some tour to sacred sites together with you. So there will be the possibility to make another live stream on my channel if you want to come as a guest. I would be honored to come back as a guest on this channel if you like to
Thank you.
hear me again.
I would love that. I would love to have you as often as you would like. And just so everyone knows, what email, website, how do we reach you? How do we contact you, Luca? If we want.
Okay, so I have multiple, let's say, website. For the American information, you can go monroeinstitute.org. Our people, trainers, you find my page there, and there are my contacts. Or monroeinstitute.it is also another possibility. My personal website is conscious co is totalcoherence.europe as well.
Totalcoherence.europe.
.eu, yes.
.eu, totalcoherence.eu, the Monroe Institute .italy,
And
uh,
moreoinstitute.org. Yeah.
and monroeinstitute.org. You can find Luca at Arthur Findlay College at the Monroe Institute. He has his own podcast. He is a phenomenal teacher, healer, metaphysicist, astrologer, shaman, medicine man. Um, Thank you so much, Luca,
Thank
for
you very much. My pleasure. Laura, it's
it's an
really an honor to be your guest.
thank you so much.